Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. And I wanted to do a video about how it'll probably be titled, I gave up and then Jesus brought me my husband. So if people are feeling discouraged and have basically given up on relationships, romance, getting married, anything like that, maybe listen to this and see what you think. So I'll try to make it as concise as possible. So let's see. My 20s and 30s were spent dating different guys. Some were really long, of course, committed relationships. And back in those days, I was never wanting to get married. I just figured, like a lot of people think, oh, why do you need a piece of paper? We're committed and that's that. But as time goes on and you grow and mature and maybe your mind changes or things happen, your perspective changes. So then I was with a guy probably from, I think I was 24 till I was 30. And that's a whole story in itself. That was a crazy whirlwind romance relationship. Oh my gosh, I thought we'd be together forever. But then I also thought, pretty much all my boyfriends, from my high school sweetheart and going forward. But yeah, so God didn't have that as part of the plan. So with the guy I was with for 6 years, I was wanting more of a relation, like a commitment, as far as, are we going to get married? We didn't even live together after 6 years of being together. And like I said, that's a whole other story. And I'm going to do a video about having my midlife crisis at 30 years old. And that's right when I broke up with him. But everything happens for a reason. God has a plan for us. Sometimes it's very painful. Sometimes it's shocking. Sometimes it's mind-blowing. So all we can do is just go along for the ride and see what happens and take everything in stride. So we broke up when I was 30, and I'll try to condense this, like I said. So I went on a holiday to Australia, and it was on Halloween, and I was staying in a youth hostel with some other girls from all over the world. That's just what you do. And we decided to go out that night to a bar, or as they say over there, a pub. And this one had a little dance floor. So we thought, yeah, let's go there and see what's going on. It's Halloween night. So went there and see this guy across the dance floor, kind of off to the side. And I'm looking at him, he's looking at me. I'm like, he's very attractive. He's looking at me, everyone, all my friends, I should say, and the females in America that I know, everyone likes Australian men. So, and I was one of them. I was like, gosh, yep, he's attractive, and, the accent and all that stuff. And so anyways, after, looking at each other for a long time, and I had a boyfriend at the time back in the US. And so he came over, we started talking. And so ended up, I think the bar closed around, they say open way later over there, but so we ended up leaving there, and it was downtown, and it was a waterfront town. So this is where he grew up, so he was showing me where, some spots where we walked all over, And I was like, gosh, and I had to get up. I think my flight was at 7. The next morning I was going to a different city in Australia to see a friend of mine. And so we were talking for hours and walking around, hanging out at the waterfront, the pier, took a couple pictures. This is before, I'm trying to think here. I didn't even have a camera other than like those disposable ones. So this is right at the beginning of the 2000s, and hardly anyone had anything fancy, any type of digital camera. That's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I don't even know if I had a cell phone. I can't remember. I don't think so. And it was very archaic. And so we exchanged physical addresses, not even email addresses. And he said, yeah, I've always wanted to have a pen pal in America. And I was thinking, cool, yeah, and I figured probably won't even hear from him or anything, excuse me. And so I come back to America, I'm living my life, and he's living his in Australia, and he ends up writing to me. And so we started writing letters back and forth. I mean, he didn't have email or anything, and making a phone call overseas back then was a whole ordeal. You had to get a little card, like an international calling card, and dial all these codes and numbers and this and that, and put money on it, and it was a whole thing. And so for almost 8 years we were writing back and forth. And then during this time I had broken up with that guy. That was, oh my goodness, so that was the whole thing. And I moved to a different city, and I think, yeah, I dated another guy. That was, I thought, oh my gosh, he's just the greatest thing in the whole entire universe, which no, he wasn't. And so that, after I think 3 years, one day it just, he did something, said something that I think, and I wasn't even a Christian, like an official quote unquote Christian then. I, excuse me, yeah, whatever he did or said, I just thought, and it could have been the Holy Spirit telling me, nope, he's not for you. You're not going to be with him. He's not the type that you want to be with. And which was completely true, but I was so madly head over heels for him and would have done anything in the whole entire world for him. But it wasn't reciprocated or anything. And so the one day that all this happened and I had the realization, I broke up with him. I just took the key back that I gave him and to my place. And after that, yeah, so that took a long time to get over. And then, boy, I better hurry this up. It's already at 9 minutes. So let's see, I dated a couple other guys after that, but oh my gosh, it was just either they were jerks, pretty much most of them, or flakes. They'd tell you, yeah, let's hang out tonight, at this time. And then they'd never show up. And then, just always excuses and this and that, just one after the other. And at this time, I'm probably around 37 years old or something like that. And it seriously was just so many jerks, for lack of a better word. Just, oh my gosh, it was so frustrating. And I had coworkers that were interested in me, but I wasn't interested in them. And they're just constantly just asking, let's go on a date. So I'd just tell him, well, I have a boyfriend, even though I didn't, and I had no intention of having one. And So this went on for the next couple years, and I was just like, oh my gosh, excuse me. And so, yeah, I got to the point where I just gave up. I'm just like, nope, I am not dealing anymore with any more jerks and flakes and just rude and controlling. And oh my gosh. And I started telling people, I'd say, I'm going to be a nun, even though I'm not Catholic or anything. And I just said, nope, I'm going to be a nun and have a whole bunch of cats. So I'm going to be the crazy cat lady, which that's a saying in America. And I had one cat to start off with. So I was thinking already, okay, I'll have to get some more. And I'm not dealing with any more guys ever. And so that went on maybe for a year or something. And then the guy I met in Australia, and we'd been messaging, writing letters back and forth, and he had a girlfriend, and I'd been going through all the stuff. And so he wanted to do a trip over to the US, and it was like a lifelong dream of his. And so it ended up working out. Everything just worked out where everything lined up. The place I was working, they let me take a month off from work, which was unheard of. And so he came over, and I had it planned out that we would go to several big cities in America, like New York, Boston, New Orleans, San Francisco, and other ones too, just so he could see as much as possible. And we stayed with friends in most of those places, which was really cool. And so during that trip, and like I said, he had a girlfriend at this time, and we were just friends. So we were, initially I was attracted to him, but, obviously he had a girlfriend, and I even talked to her on the phone and said, this is weird, that he's over here with me traveling around. And she's, oh no, that's fine. I know you guys are friends and how you met and all this stuff. And so we do our trip. He was over here for a month, and towards the end, it was, I could tell he was maybe wanting to say something. And I wasn't gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna step on anyone's relationship and all that. So I figured if he's having thoughts about something, he needs to get himself situated. And so he was just saying, I'm having the best time. This is so much fun. And so he extended his stay for another week, and my work let me, I don't even think I went into work a few times that week. And yeah, so that all worked out. So he flies, and it was kind of emotional at the airport when he was leaving. I was like, gosh, we've had so much fun. And he was just like, yeah, I don't want to leave and this and that. So he leaves, and I think at that time we were able to talk on the phone. And so when he got back to Australia, he called, or however it worked out, so I knew that he made it, because that's a crazy long flight. So he told me as soon as the plane landed, he called his girlfriend over there and broke up with her. And he said they weren't really serious or anything. They just kind of hung out for the last year or two. And yeah, he said it wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't going to go anywhere. And I was like, what? Oh my gosh. And so he said, I want us to pursue a relationship, and I don't just want it to be dragging on and on. I want marriage to be the end goal and what we're moving towards. I'm just like, are you kidding? I mean, I was like the last person to even be thinking about getting married, thinking about a husband, thinking about anything like that. I was just like, are you kidding? And so we get off the phone, and I think we had a few phone calls just talking about different things. And I was starting to tell my friends, and I can't remember if I told my mom yet, my parents. But they met him when he came over. That was one of the places we went to, just to introduce him. Oh, this is my friend from Australia. We're traveling around. And so when I did tell my mom, she ended up saying, yeah, I could tell there was something, between you guys when you came to visit. I was like, oh gosh, well, I didn't think so then, but so it all happened so fast. This was in May, and he came over for the month of April. He flew back at the beginning of May, and we're talking on the phone, and I remember the day he was telling me things, and that, he wanted it to be serious and for us to get married and all that. It was on my grandpa's birthday, which is in May. So I always remember that, and I couldn't even believe it. And my friends couldn't believe it. They're like, gosh, how would this even happen? Are you going to get married and then go straight to Australia? Or is he moving over here? And are you sure? I heard, heard that a lot. It's all happened so fast and this and that. It's like, yeah, but we were pen pals for, I think it was 8.5 years. And then the courtship, or the actual dating, was very fast. So that was May, and then things just moved really fast for the rest of that year. I ended up going over to Australia for, I think, 3 months, just so we could be around each other and see what it would be like living together and all that. And I traveled around with him because he could work in different areas. So I went with him when he worked. And then he came over to America at the end of that year, and we were planning our wedding. And his thought was, well, that's what we're moving towards. Let's just, we don't need a long engagement or long dating for a long period of time. And I was still just so shocked by everything, because if anyone knew me, they would be like, really? Cathie's talking about getting married really quick, here very soon. And so, yes, so we ended up getting married at the very beginning of that following year. So yeah, we weren't just together dating for, I think it was 7 months, and engaged for just over a month when he actually proposed. But so with that all being said, yes, I had given up completely on guys, on relationships, on romance. Marriage definitely wasn't even on the table, and it kind of never was, because I just wasn't thinking about that. And so God completely changed everything around. If you watch my testimony video, I talk a little bit about just after we got married, and then when I came to know Jesus pretty much right after that. But yeah, that's another story. So with all that being said, if you are at any stage of, you've given up, you've thrown in the towel, you don't care about anything anymore as far as relationships, having a partner for a long term, a committed partner, anything like that, things can change instantly. So yeah, I went from 1 month just doing my thing and planning on, getting 5 more cats. And then the next month talking about marriage and, how do we plan this and where do we get married? And it's mind blowing. So yes, if anyone has similar amazing, mind-blowing situations or experiences, please put them down below. And sorry this went for so long. It's just hard to sum it up quick. But yeah, let me know if anyone can relate, if anything crazy has happened with you guys too. Thank you for clicking on the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you like the content, and leave me a message. I love to chat with everyone. And I hope you subscribe. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next video. All right. God bless. Bye.